Good morning, Rainmakers. Hope you're all well. Today I'm going to talk about my daily activities in terms of how I schedule things, think about life, and sort of reach my goals. Now, you may say, how do you reach your goals because of the fact that your goals are so far away? But what you need to understand is that when you actually create your goals, you need to create them with vision and purpose. So when you create your goals with vision and purpose, what I like to do personally is sort of have what's called a 3-month plan, and it's called a 12-week year. And the reason why you have a 12-week year is that people say, and normally in life, everybody tries to set goals at the beginning of the year. When you set the goals at the beginning of the year, number one, you're just doing it because everybody sort of thinks that's the date you should do it and think about it. It's like everybody says that they're going to start the gym, and the gym's really busy in the first 2 weeks of January, and then after that it dies away because everyone forgets about it. And the reason why those goals don't get achieved is because they've just set some goals due to it being the 1st or 31st or 30th of December without any real purpose or vision. And so as a result of that, once that purpose, because there is no purpose and vision, they're just going to the gym, and if they miss a few slots here and there or get lazy, then because the purpose and the vision isn't there of what they really want to achieve, then they basically don't go anymore. And why do you have purpose and vision? If you're going to go to the gym, for example, it should be because, for example, I want to feel young enough and feel energetic enough for my son, who's 7 now, when he has kids when he's maybe 25, 30, and then he has children which are sort of going to be 6 or 7, so that's about, say, 25, 30, about 32 years' time. I want to be fit, able, manoeuvring, and so I can put them and take them on the bike, I can go swimming with them, and I can run around and play hide and seek with them, because that's my goal. So now when that's my goal, that becomes much better than looking the sort of butch and fit and all this kind of stuff, because of the fact that being butch and fit is for what? I've already got a beautiful wife. Ultimately, I don't need people to say, oh, you've got really nice muscles. I'd rather just say to them, look, you're a really nice guy, I like hanging around with you, and therefore I don't need to go to the gym to do that. I can just be a nice person. So you have to have purpose and vision. So why do I talk about purpose and vision? Because once you've got your purpose and vision, then you have a game plan for 3 months. In order then you break it down, and therefore then when I say I'm looking at my goals in the morning, I've broken them down into what I want to achieve that week, and therefore what I want to achieve on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So therefore, once I can see what I need to do, I plan my week on a Sunday in terms of all my meetings, things that need to be done, and they all get slotted in. For example, let me show you my diary that I have today. As you can see, my diary, these are all color-coded. Pink is like for sports and well-being, green is work, blue is personal stuff. So you can see it's super organized, and that gets filled out during the day in terms of what needs to be done on the Sunday, and then it all gets slotted in. So how does my day start normally? My day starts as the 5 a.m. club. I've talked about it in previous podcasts and stuff at the beginning, so go back and have a look at it. But the reason why I start with the 5 a.m. club is because of the fact that your morning routine and how you start off on the morning on any day, especially on a Monday, is really important. Why especially a Monday? The reason being, I found that once I work on Friday and then Saturday, Sunday becomes more about fun and waking up at different times, my brain, for example, whatever happens on the Monday, it sets the precedence for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just have a think about it and imagine it yourself. If you wake up at 6 o'clock on a Monday, every day you seem to wake up at the same time. If you wake up late on a Monday, you then follow that same routine of being late, eating late, and da. And for some reason, your brain sort of resets itself, because all its life, it has been told Monday to Friday is school, Saturday and Sunday are the weekends, and so therefore on the weekends you need to reset in order to start the week again. So therefore, without you knowing, subconsciously, it's super important. So not only is it important to set your morning routine, for example at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., but it's super important to always do it on the Monday. So I have talked about this before as well, which is it's not your morning routine doesn't start on the morning before, it starts the night before. Why does it start the night before? The reason is that you need to have a routine in order to go to bed on time. Why? Because if you don't go to bed on time, and you sometimes go to bed at 10 o'clock, sometimes you go to bed at 12 o'clock, the body needs sleep. That's where you recharge. That's where you get your energy. That's where it repairs itself, mind, body and soul. It's the most important thing in your whole life. If you couldn't sleep, you would most probably die. You could even have all the food, all the drink and everything, but you'll die of insomnia because you need to sleep. It's the most important thing. We take it for granted that we should sleep, but I've worked out by using a Whoop, which is a special device that most of you will most probably know about. If not, you can look it up. But sleep is the most important thing, and it's important to get sleep in terms of deep sleep and REM. What does deep sleep and REM do? It basically repairs your muscles. If you're going to the gym, it replaces your brain waves. It makes you reset. So therefore, if you've had a good night's sleep, you therefore are energized and ready for the day. So I try to have a routine, which if I'm being honest with, I'm not very good at, because I used to be a night person. So therefore, I find it difficult to go to bed. You know, even if I'm tired during the day and then it comes to 7 o'clock, suddenly I'm all awake again. I'm been so tired since 4 o'clock, and 7 o'clock comes along and I'm alive again. Everybody else is going to sleep and I'm trying to wonder what to do and where shall I go and shall I watch some TV and stuff. I'm tired and I should go to bed, but I can't drag myself into bed because I'm like, oh, I can't go to bed at 8 o'clock. So I've had to learn to break that habit. So I've broken that habit and I set an alarm, and at 9 o'clock I basically sit down, I wash my face, get changed into my pajamas, make sure there's no bright light around and stuff. Then I read a bit. Then as soon as I notice that I'm going to fall asleep on the sofa, before that time comes, I go to bed at about 9:30. Why do I have to make sure I do that? Because otherwise I fall asleep on the sofa, wake up at about 1 o'clock, neck is hurting because I slept in a funny way, I'm breaking sleep and now I'm going to sleep again, so it's really going to ruin the whole pattern of where you sleep. So get into bed early, at a set time, have your 6 or 7 hours sleep that you need, or 8 hours depending on how you are, and then in the morning when I wake up, I do the 5 a.m. routine. What's the 5 a.m. routine? It's very simple, and once you start doing it, it's really exciting as well. And the reason why it's exciting is because you actually look forward to it. You know, normally you wake up at 5 a.m. and you think, what shall I do now? I'm up, sort of thing. You go have a coffee, then you walk around the house, then you may read something on your phone, and then suddenly it's sort of like 6:37 and you're running around and you're thinking, I woke up at 5, what have I been doing for 2 hours? You know, nothing basically. So don't waste it. So 5 a.m. I wake up. 20 minutes I do a little bit of exercise. What kind of exercise? Nothing special. I walk up and down quickly, may do a few push-ups, you know, do some stretching, whatever, walk the dog for 20 minutes. Then for 20 minutes what I do is I actually journal. Now that's been inspirational for me, and you don't have to think about anything. You just sit there, put a pen in your hand, and then your mind just goes off and you write stuff down and everything. You know, sometimes you write about life, sometimes you write about, you know, your favorite hobby, or sometimes you write about, you know, your friends or your birthday party. But whatever comes out is what your body is just trying to download and get out into the world. And what I do as well is, because I journal every day, I read what I wrote the day before. And when I read it, I'm like, wow, you know, you're so clever. Or, wow, you know, I didn't even know you thought like that. I thought you were sort of a Neanderthal walking around. You know, this is very inspirational. Who wrote this? Me, you know. So it's quite funny to read and then go back. And then when you have a book as well for the future and you read and you see things, then you're like, wow, I've accomplished that. Wow, I've accomplished that. Wow, I've accomplished that. And you may not accomplish the things that you do straight away, but because it's in your mind, it's in your subconscious and stuff, that comes through. And so therefore, when you look back, you'll be amazed at what things you've achieved and what things you've done, and also the memories that you had. Like, for example, say you had a birthday or your son did something amazing and you wrote it down in the journal because it came out, and then you read it and you remember that day and you resonate with it. So after the journaling, what do? You can do 20 minutes of anything you like which makes you happy and is inspirational. So if you have a favorite podcaster, you can listen to him. If you want to read something, you can read it. Even if you want to sort of do something else on TV or whatever that inspires you, you can do that as well. Now, after that hour, everybody else in the family wakes up and they come running down. Now, because I spent an hour and I've been productive in that hour, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and you have to be religious with the 20 minutes as well, because otherwise you get caught up in the journaling I found, and you could spend 45 minutes doing it, or you get into the exercise and think, I might as well. You have to be disciplined, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. And the reason why it's the 3 things as opposed to 1 hour of gym or 1 hour of journaling is because you're making the brain wake up and you're giving it different things. So, for example, the exercise sets the blood rolling. It gets you oxygen in there. It wakes you up. It is important to get sunlight as well within that sort of 20 minutes as well, because that releases the endorphins and everything there. Even if it's you're in England or in a country where there is no sun, the sun is coming through the clouds and stuff, so it's important to do that. Then 20 minutes of journaling. Why journaling? Because in the morning you slept, you've not had any thoughts or anything like that. You may have had dreams, but it gives you a chance for your body, without any sort of distractions from emails or whatever, come out with stuff. Then in terms of the inspirational stuff, why inspirational stuff? Because you want to be inspired for the day. The way you start your day is the way you're going to continue it and think. So by the time the son comes down with the wife, or if she's doing a 5 a.m. club, she tells me to stay away because otherwise I start talking to her too much, and she goes, this is my special time, go away sort of thing. So when they come down, by then I feel so energized. I'm like, morning Rafi, how are you? And he's like, oh Dad, because he's not done the 5 a.m. club, right? He's just woken up. So he's like, oh, calm down. Or my wife will say, oh, quiet darling, quiet, not so loud, we've just woken up sort of thing. The dogs love it, of course. They're like jumping up and down thinking I'm going to take them for a walk, but that's not the case. But so therefore that 5 a.m. routine's up. Then I look in my diary, and then it's blocked off. What I do is I block off my personal time as well. So therefore, for the next hour, if I'm doing the school run, I'm with my son, we're having fun, we're eating our breakfast, go get changed, go do the school run, and that's blocked off. Then after that, if I have a meeting, I go for my meeting. Then I follow the thing, and I do block off personal time. So therefore, if I'm going to have a lunch by myself, I will go to the park and I will put down where I'm going to have lunch according to where I am. I love going to the marina. It's an amazing place, loads of energy. I love the sea. So if any time I can get to the sea or the marina or a park in Dubai, I always make sure that I spend time there and get some quality sort of vibes and energy from there. But I plan my day, and it's really important in real estate as well that you plan your day. You have those viewings. So for example, when I used to work at Foxtons, we had a very strict schedule. And I followed that schedule to the letter of the T, not only because I had to, but I wanted to. It taught me discipline. It taught me productivity. So we came into the office at 8:30. We had a half an hour meeting at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we called up all the 10 viewings that we should have done the day before and get feedback. Then we tried to rebook the viewings and then get new viewings. 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we'd have our lunch if we had time to have a quick sandwich, and also we did viewings. 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we did what was called deal chasing. So that means all the people where I'd agreed the sales in, I would call lawyers, call people up, and call the buyers and sellers up. 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I would do viewings again. And then everybody would go home, and I would most probably stay in the office till 10 o'clock, again calling my buyers and sellers, because of the fact that once I got up to capacity, I had 15 parties, 15 deals lined up with about 60 people, which is 2 solicitors and 2 buyers and sellers, and also prospective clients. So therefore I needed to keep working. So you can see that structure. If you came into the office or called me up and said, I'd like to do a viewing at 9:30, I can't see it at any other time. We were not allowed out of the office. Why? Because I'm busy. I would say to my manager, can I do it? No. If he wants to buy that property, he will find time between 10 and 2, or between 12 and 2, or 4 and 8. And we're open on a Saturday as well. It's not like you're not giving them enough time if he can't do a thing. Now, I'm not saying that that should be the case in Dubai because of the fact that the structure in England is different from Dubai. So then he may just call up another agent and go see it. But what I'm saying is that make sure that you value your time. You're as just an important person as the buyer and the seller. You are on their level. You're not doing them a service where they feel like, you know, you are beneath them. No, you got to stand up and be on par with everyone, regardless of your job and status or whatever. You're a human being, they're a human being, and everybody talks to each other on the same level, which goes for yourself as well in terms of the way you speak to your son, the way you speak to the taxi driver, and the way you speak to your clients and your potential clients and friends as well. You should not be rude and raise your voice or think you're better than them. So, morning routine, routine during the day, also spending quality time on physical stuff for your mind, body and soul. During the week, I always make sure that I play at least 2 rounds of golf if I have the chance. If I don't, there's paddle involved. If there's not, there's walks involved. But you have to remember that you've got to look after yourself. You've got to also eat well, so that's also really important in terms of making sure that you have energy and enthusiasm. You can't run off fumes, and if you do run off fumes, you will crash, so therefore there's no point. Always have continuity and consistency in anything that you do. I hope that was helpful. If you want to DM me or ask me for any information with regards to the calendar that I use, how I also use another app called To Do, which is done by Microsoft, where everything comes in. Very quickly, I'll tell you about this. If anything comes into me, whether it be a telephone call, whether it be a letter or a task, I think I bring it in and I say, can it be done in 5 minutes? If it can, I will do it. Is it interrupting what I'm doing now? If it is, I won't do it. However, then it goes into a system where it's captured. So it will go into a to-do list now or to-do list later, or it will go into a to-do list later on. Why do I do that? So that anything that comes and needs to be done, I don't have to remember it. It's actually down on paper or in the app. So therefore, then what I need to do is just look at my app or my paper to know what I need to do for the week, where it will go and things. So therefore, even if it's like put petrol, I make a note of it. Put petrol in the car, and I put it in the calendar after a meeting because I know there'll be a petrol station close by. Then I can forget about it. If I have to order something from Amazon, I put it in the diary, order the sheets, because of the fact that if you think about having to think about all these small things, like a computer, they slow you down. You may not think they slow you down, but they slow you down. So on your front screen, on your computer, if you have loads of widgets open, those widgets slow the computer down because they're taking up memory. Yes, they're in the background and you don't see them, but they're taking up memory. Clean up your computer, take that all off. So like your brain, take away all those small little tasks that are there. Don't keep thinking about them and letting them build up. Make sure you put them down on paper or put them down where they need to be, and then you don't have to worry about it and you don't have to remember whether I need to remember something because you put it down. But you need to get the system in place. If you don't have the system in place, then it will fly out of the system. So it's a very simple habit. Something's been told to you or something needs to be remembered, you put it in the system. You can even put it in the system to be looked at later and arranged, but otherwise you put it into a category. And then after that you know that it's done and finished. So anyway, I'm digressing, I guess, but ultimately what I'm saying is that you see my day, you see how I organise things. Make sure you use it for work, make sure you use it for your everyday life, and it applies to everybody, mothers, fathers, electricians, everybody. The more productive you are, the more efficient you are, and the more that you will get things done to reach what we call our ultimate vision and our purposes, which are our ultimate goals for 3 weeks. Catch you again, Rainmakers. Hope you enjoyed the episode.